As always, it's fabulous to have you along on eRacing GP. We are in season number 3, would you believe? We're still in COVID lockdown circumstances. But that's great news for us. It means the global edition can just get bigger and bigger. Alex Young has decided that American tracks are what we're going to be using today for the silver and gold, and also for the copper and bronze classes that we've already seen. Alex, so far, let's just refer back very quickly to the racing we've seen so far. Very good competitive racing.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the copper and the bronzes go already. And Mid-Ohio is a very tricky track to drive on. Very hard to overtake. But those two classes, the drivers in them, they somehow made some really good opportunistic moves. I got a feeling the silver and gold drivers will be watching that going, all right, we need to try and mimic them. We're now in the silver class. Damage is full. These are the Formula 3 cars, which are a lot of fun to drive, a lot of downforce. Not that much power compared to the downforce that they carry. But really, really good fun to drive.
Okay, we're into round 2. That means there has been a round 1, and we've got some results. So very early on in this 6-race season, or 6-round season, the early race leader, Mas Vilton. As we look at the overall standings so far, the Singaporean picking up 29 points in the first weekend, 9 clear of Philippines, Oliver Aquino and Joaquim Garrido just behind them. Haris Zephi, who's always fun to watch, is down in P4. He made comments on Facebook before. He's ready to be involved. Dillan Tan, a youngster who is improving before our very eyes, is down in P5. There are some good racers, and even Leon Leo Young, Triple L as we call him, from Hong Kong. After a disappointing week number 1, he'll be fancying his chances in week number 2, Alex Young.
And now have a look at this. This is the Nations Cup. We have 2 new championships for this 3rd global edition. One is the Nations Cup, one is the Teams Cup. So in the Nations Cup, coming into this round, Philippines are leading. And after seeing such a strong copper and Philippines class from, copper and bronze class from Philippines, I think they're going to extend that gap. Singapore's up there, Malaysia, Vietnam, the two Detroit brothers scoring a handful of points also helps them.
And it's not only a Nations Cup, we've got a Teams Championship once again, and we'll be keeping an eye on all of this. Obviously, the individual championship is the one that we focus mostly on, but it's good kudos if Stratos Motorsports and Sim Racing Filipinas, 62 points each. That'll be a nice little battle to keep a close eye on. Legion of Racers and Tedco will want to get a little bit closer. Rough Esports and 7-Star Garage on 36 and 38 points respectively. They are competitive. Great to see the likes of Team Racing Line, Comrade Gaming, Team Uncle and Team Garu Philippines. You've done well, Alex, I've got to admit. You've done really well to get so many different groups involved in this eRacing GP. Now on to the silver, and we've got 5 minutes left. Let's just have a look at the form of some of the guys out there. Haris Zephi, Alex, we know a lot about him. He had a mixed race. He had 5 points for qualification, but then in race number 1 had a bit of a problem. He only picked up 14 points all weekend. Yeah.
So we're using format B for silver and gold class, and so it's a 40-minute race. There's no reverse grid second race. Harrison, like you said, in round 1 had pole position, had the full 5 points, was leading round 1, wasn't he? But he was on a 2-stop strategy, and then had contact.
Hit the wall.
Yeah, hit the wall, lost the nose cone. So he dropped way back. And it was Mas Vilton who ended up winning with a very clever one-stop strategy.
Yeah, it is important for you to maybe just go through the different strategies. It's a 40-minute race, and some of these guys might not be used to the tactics involved. And you were telling me before that certainly at the IndyCar level, there might be 3 pit stops in strategy. Yeah. Will it be the same for these guys?
I think it'd be 1 or 2 stops for the F3 cars. You see, so for like copper and bronze, because they're newer drivers and stuff, we might do a reverse grid race, but we keep the races short. But silver and gold, we want to have different formats, throw it up, challenge the drivers because they're getting to a good levels. So we run the longer races at the moment for silver, 40-minute races, like you said. They will have to do pit stops. I think it'd be 1 or 2 stops. And then when we go to gold later, I think some of them might be doing 3 stops because the tyre wear in the IndyCar is a lot higher.
You've just mentioned the circuit, and before we actually pick out the spotter's guide for this particular race, the circuit itself, I always like to get a flying lap around it, and we've got one of the IndyCar drivers, Mikko Nassi, who'll be driving later on today, who's done us a flying lap around Mid-Ohio. Let's have a look.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'll take you for a lap around here in the Indy car. Just getting a nice wide start to our lap. And we're at the start-finish straight here. And coming up to almost full throttle left-hand corner. Maybe on qualifying fuel and these softer alternate tires, it is full throttle. And then we're coming up to hairpin, the keyhole. And super important to get a good exit here for the long back straight. Really patient getting onto the throttle. And you'll notice that's going to be a theme here. Throttle patience. There's lots of elevation change, lots of crests that you have to go through and try to accelerate out of. And just through the kink there, and a really fast right-hand corner coming up here, third gear. Staying close to the left edge. There's no point going right across the track. You don't benefit from it. And then a very tricky series of S's here, where you can easily lose the back end. And lost the apex there a little bit, and another really difficult acceleration zone. Super tough to get enough power down. And a really quick left-hand corner, and we're coming up to the final sector, the carousel here. Almost lost the car. You end up in the pit lane there if you overcook it a bit more than I did. And then we're done with the lap. That's the 2.4 mile Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, which has been used since the 1960s. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the race.
These old circuits, Alex, they always look just a little bit special. They knew what they were building in the 1960s, didn't they? Yeah. This is a very, very tricky track. And as you say, the undulations can just take it's such a difficult skill to master.
I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, the last 20 years, we saw these flat tracks appear on calendars, especially Formula Ones, Tilcodromes, they used to call them, because they just, I don't know, the city planners just like flattening everything. But it's a huge cost trying to flatten these undulations. It's better to leave the undulations there. It's less cost to build these tracks, and it's so much more fun to drive. Drivers love these undulations because it's so challenging to keep the car on the road. You know, you don't just have to think about 2D. You've got 3D. You've got elevation changes, and the car's going light and heavy in different parts of the corner. It's great. It's awesome racing with elevation.
I love watching you describing racing. You really, really get into it, and I can see if you get a chance to drive Mid-Ohio, you'll do exactly that. Let's have a look at Jim Masvilton. He's the overall championship leader at the moment. Has he been quick during a practice during the week, Alex?
Yeah, well, he was very quick on the leaderboard, but look at that, practice times now. He's a 10th off Harris, who had pole in round 1. So they're all in for a battle at the moment. Miranda there. Wow, he's gone quick. I haven't seen him up there. Then you've got some of the usual guys. Tony Fox up there. Hung from Hong Kong as well. But yeah, a couple of Stratus drivers who I know will also be very quick, who haven't showed on the leaderboard just yet, but they'll be up there too.
Okay, thanks, Alex. We're going to have Amo Hazik in the commentary chair. Let's have a look, though, at the spotter's guide so that we can pick out the teams and the colours to be looking out for when the qualification and then the race gets underway. So the main people to look out for are obviously Jim Masvilton. The top Filipinos are Aquino and Joaquim Garrido, Paul Faustino and Daniel Miranda and Seb Tagulo, all very familiar names for us. Delighted to welcome a new Indian driver, Amitesh Nyogi, currently in P20. Well, he's in car number 24. Let's see how he's currently only put in a lap of 1:18.8 just at the moment. But it's always good to get new drivers coming in at this top level. Johnny Popular, what a magnificent name for the Aussie, alongside Clint Olive. But Johnny Popular, I guarantee to get him a name check in the commentary. Johnny Popular, Alex, what's going on?
Really great name. So he's new and joined us from Australia. Great to have him aboard. We've got a couple of Americans who are also coming on board at some point later.
And our Japanese contingent, of course, Nois O, who has picked up a podium in a reverse grid race in the past. No reverse grid here, though. So you really are attracting people from around the world. Well done, you.
Yeah, and America is technically Asia Pacific, isn't it? It's part of the Pacific. But yes, let's see who we can follow now. Whoa, I can't pronounce that, but Amitesh there looking very good there as he comes through P2.
Well, should we just stick with Amitesh, see how the Indian racer gets on with it at the moment? Look at that, faster through Sector 1, Alex.
Yeah.
Early days, but wow, that's some debut.
Very nice indeed. Good to see him there. Amatesh quickest at the moment. Oh, jumped on the throttle there, a bit harsh. You have to be smooth through these bits. He's looking a little bit ragged. We should also try and follow Jin Masvilton later as well. Him and Harris. I think him and Harris Effie will be the guys fighting for pole position.
He's fastest through Sector 2, Alex.
Oh, he is fastest through Sector 2. But he's also the first car on track, so I anticipate him to go quicker now. And maybe as he crosses the finish line, once we see his lap time, we can go to Masvilton and see how he's doing.
Well, Amitesh. Ooh, I tell you what, his time, it's last lap invalid. The best lap, 1:17.138. Brad McCombs from the United States, as you quite rightly said, is on. Where is Masvilton? There he is. You picked him up superbly. Fastest through 1, fastest through 2. This is proper racing.
Wow, half a second quicker.
Bingo.
Nicely done. Okay, he's got time for another lap, so he restarts at lap 16.3. That's good by him. Let's see who else will be good out there. Harris Zeffi, he'll be the other guy fighting for pole position as well. Oliver Aquino as well will also be very strong. Aquino, they're 2/10 down through Sector 1. But let's see if we can try and pick up Harris Zeffi here, because he'll be quick as well.
Where is Harris? Trying to pick him up on the leaderboard. There he is.
So, let's see, Sector 1, as he comes through there. He loves driving with the face mask. Oh, just outside. His fastest sector so far, he's a green, but he's 1100ths outside the pole position time of Masvilton. Ooh, now through turns 3 and 4 and 5. Through the S's he goes through now. Small movement there with the back. He needs to complete this lap. He hasn't done a lap yet. He has to get a lap down on the board. I think he must have aborted his first lap. Just got on the power, nice and good. Sector 2 now, 2/10 down. Yeah, it didn't look so good through the first bit of the S's there. As he comes through the second last corner, and now the last corner on the track. So, yeah, missed the apex just a little bit of a scrappy lap, but he's got enough time to do one more lap. Let's see what this does. Should be good enough for the front row. No, yes, just on the front row, and he has just enough time to start another lap. So this is the lap. Harris needs to get it cleaned up if he wants to challenge Masvilton for pole.
Who's there? Yusuf on Facebook. Let's go, Harris, he's saying. There's a little bit of support there for the Malaysian. Currently in P3 because Dillan Tan has gone a bit quicker. It's a Singapore first row of the grid at the moment. Let's see if Malaysia's Harris, Troy Iman or Ung Jung Cheng can make any headway into that. Oh, Harris aborts. Oh, no, he's still going, isn't he? No. Yeah, he's still on board.
So he decides to abort for now. We'll come back to him in a while because we'll see him towards the end of the lap. Just look at Arif Azmi right now, see how he's doing. He's also a real-life driver, does a lot of karting. Messy lap though, messy through there. Missed the apex. Oof, getting sideways quite a bit. Wow, that looks terrible. Now he's going to have to abort that. He's not going to improve. Let's go back to Harris Zeffi, shall we? See if he can get close to Masvilton. Oh, he's gone off again. Oh, that's it. Is there enough time for him to start another lap? 6 minutes qualifying is actually more than enough around this track.
There is, so long as he gets over, they're lapping around about the 1:16.2, so long as he's got 1:17 as he goes over the start-finish line. So, yeah, it's got to be a good lap. You have got no choice but to make this a good lap, Harris. Now then, let's stay alongside him, Alex. Let's see how his flying lap is. That's looking backwards. This is looking forwards.
Now coming to turn 2, braking super late here. It's very important. It's not about braking too late, it's about getting the exit. He's V'ing it a bit. Looks like he got on the power decently. Couldn't quite tell from that angle. Now the long back straight here. Let's see. You're coming out to the end of Sector 1 at the end of this back straight there. No, messy again. 3 and 4 tenths down. Yeah, I thought he didn't get turn 2 right very well. So, no, that's not going to be good enough for pole, I feel. You can't lose 4 tenths on the first sector and expect to challenge for pole position. And Masvilton's gone a bit quicker. He's done a 16 flat. And Troy Elman has gone with him as well. Great lap by Troy Elman.
And Justin Hung also in there, hanging in. He's on the second row. Harris currently in P5. Now he will complete this lap, but it's Masvilton, the championship leader, who leads the way. Aquino is down in P16, the Filipino in second place from the 7 Stars Garage team. He is struggling and will have to have come from a long way down. Wow, so at the moment, Maz Wilton and Iman front row of the grid. Dillan Tan and Justin Hung on the second row. Hung alongside Harris Zephy on the third row. Tony Fock and Wei Xiong. Good job, Wei Xiong. They are down on the fourth row. Well,
wow.
Not great for the Filipinos though, Alex.
I think we're going to have a great race, Des. It's going to be a fun race. 1 or 2 pit stops as well. It's not going to be close. I mean, it's not going to be an easy one for anyone.
eRacing GP Global Edition. It's the silver class. We are at the Mid-Ohio full circuit. And it's got the tricky finger corner down at the bottom end. They call it the keyhole. Des Corkill with Amo Hazik in the commentary for you. We are just waiting the graphic down the left hand side to confirm the starting order, but Jin Masvilton, who is the overall championship leader, is the man who is on pole position as we speak. They are ready and on the circuit. It's a 40-minute race. The red lights are on. Masvilton on pole. And the red lights go off and we will be underway. It's a long, long hold for them. Eventually underway. Masvilton, cool as you like, rolls into P1. Behind them, it's chaos as Hung is involved in a little bit of contact. But Masvilton off to the perfect start, Amazik.
Oh, he's got a start of dreams. He got a whole shot coming into turn 1. And the fact that Dillan tried to have a look at the inside as well. And he makes it. He makes it into the keyhole. He takes the lead. And he is now the hare that takes the initial advantage.
Wow, Dillan Tan going through into P1 and Troy Iman also getting through. Masvilton just went so wide, Amo.
Yeah, it's just cold tires and cold brakes. He didn't judge the corner properly. While Dillan Tan did. And he took full advantage. He's now in the lead. Troy Iman, out of nowhere, he's second. That's a good start there for the Stratos driver as well. But Dillan Tan has taken full advantage of Ms. Wilton's early mistake.
Justin Hung and Tony Fock have got themselves into P4 and P5. We're on board here, I think, with Troy Iman. So Troy, I tell you what, he's looking a little bit nervy, a little bit far away. I love to see these driving styles, but very happily, he's in P2 just at the moment. But it's Dillan Tan who has the lead. And we've seen Dillan be reckless as Masvilton goes through on the inside.
Oh.
At the end of the lap, has Masvilton got through to P2? No, he hasn't. Iman's been able to hold on, but only by the skin of his teeth, Amo.
And once again, I think he might have been watching the earlier races because a lot of drivers tried to overtake that final corner on the carousel. He wasn't given enough room to begin with. He tried his best, but Iman just had enough of a gap to actually just hold on to second place. My word, Masvilton is looking very racy from the get-go after losing the lead from the start.
That keyhole corner has been very difficult, but Dillan Tan has got himself a 0.7 of a second lead. There is the young fella. As he looks backwards, we look at him in our screen. He's looking back at Troy Iman. It's a young Singaporean leading the Malaysian for P1 just at the moment. We were critical of him, or this correspondent was critical of him for much of last season because of his recklessness, but even at a young age, Amo, he looks like he's learning to calm down.
Yeah, and calm down it is because look at that. He is definitely concentrating. He's not blinking for the whole lap. He's snuck in that seat and he's holding on to the lead well. But it's only the first 2 laps that he's only done so far. He's got the rest of the race to go to. In fact, 37.5 minutes. They'll have to keep that composure up for the rest of the race.
Let's just change our focus a little bit. Harris Zephy Shami has got himself up into P6 and is trying to get on the tail end of the 2 Hong Kong races. It's Tony Fock, the man who's just in front of him, but Harris Zephy only got P6 in qualification, and I think we're a little bit surprised that he wasn't quicker, Amo.
Yeah, in fact, normally qualifying and in Formula 3 cars, it's usually his specialty. He will bang in the lap times, but he's just a bit off form here. Maybe the mistake from last week is still at the back of his mind. But right now, he's got even bigger things to worry about. He's got his former championship rival from last season in the TCR cars right in front of him. He needs to dispatch him quickly if he were to have any chance of getting a win here.
It's a 3-way battle for P4. At the front of that little group is Justin Hung. Hung in the yellow contact with Tony Fock, and Tony really gave him a smack on the outside, and that seems to have impacted Justin, and Justin goes off and loses 2 places, Amo.
And then, well, that's not going to do well for his tyres. In fact, we got ×2 tyre wear. I heard from some drivers when they did some running yesterday that one corner can take out 3% of the tire wear. So literally, he just went off the grass. He's going to lose even more grip from that one corner alone. So he's going to have to watch his tires for the rest of the first stint if he was to make one pit stop, or at the very least 2 pit stops.
And Harris Zephy looks like he's in a battle also with Tony Fock here. They are battling through to, this is the battle for P4. They are side by side as they go onto lap number 4. It is a short lap. Masvilton is ahead of Harris. Harris has got himself ahead of Tony Fock and he's into the top 4, Alex Amo Hazik.
Well, it looks like he's on a charge. And the fact that he could put qualifying behind him, he might have lost 5 points, you know, from gaining on the drivers in front, but he'll get more in the race, and he's a man on a mission right now.
Dillan Tan is finding himself under just a little bit of pressure. Dillan has got Troy Iman very, very close to him. 5 minutes gone, and it can be very wearing because he's got another 35 minutes to go, but the adrenaline rush of staying at the front is going to be very difficult for this young fella to maintain, Amo.
Oh yeah, definitely Des. His heartbeat will be through the roof. In fact, despite him doing actual racing, even in virtual racing, your heartbeat will still race because there's a lot of real pressure right behind the driver. If to quote an actual sim racer, the cars may be not real, but the racing is, and he's definitely proving his. But look at that, the amount of concentration he's putting, and Troy Iman equally right behind him is giving a good chase as Miss Vilton also coming into play. This top 3 will definitely be inseparable for the rest of the race.
They go around the carousel and they're already beginning to make up, find some back markers ahead of them. That shows the very quick pace of Dillan Tan. Last lap a 118.0. Troy Iman a 117.8. They're lapping in the high 117s. Best lap a 117.191 from Dillan Tan so far.
And yeah, to prove the point that the gaps are close, even in the lap times, they are absolutely banging it. 118s together, and they're on full race fuel and high tire wear. It goes to show that they're not relenting. They want to have the early pace from the guys behind so that they can make a safe pit stop when they come back into the pack.
While we're early in the race, let's just have a little look down the racing. And Arif Azmi is we've got a camera on. Arif is in P9 at the moment. He's battling with Triple L Leo Leung. Arif were on board with him in the green. Triple L in front of them, and Mark Voltaire Elman. Just to show the international pedigree, you've got Malaysia, Hong Kong, and the Philippines as Dan Martin tries to literally get into the picture. And Arif looking very, very tense. Talk to me about the driving style, because to me that just looks a little bit tense in the shoulders. Am I being overly critical there?
No, you're not wrong actually, because right now he's just trying to keep the car steady. He doesn't want to actually put too much wheel corrections that could actually wear out the tires. So right now he's driving very tentatively in order to save his tires, and with good reason. But unfortunately, he had his teammate right behind him, and now he's been overtaken by his teammate.
Yeah, so Dan Martin went in and actually took that lead. As for India, they have got a driver, Amitesh Nyogi. He is currently up in P16, Amitesh, and this is a respectable start for him. He's out of the points, but he's not too far behind Oliver Aquino, and he's ahead of the likes of Seb Tagulo and Zhao Wei Xiong.
And Wei Xiong, speaking of him, we got on board with him as well. 2 seconds. Yeah, there we go. In the oddly enough Lotus-colored car. He's about 2 seconds behind Sev, but he's known to be like a guy who can mix it in midfield. He'll probably be taking it slow and steady. He was the one that told me a few days ago that this might be a 2-stopper, and he might be proved right here because the tire wears go off so quickly that it takes a very certain type of driving style to save him for the entire race.
Indeed, we have got pit stop strategy to think of. Great to get an American competitor for the very first time. Brad McCombs in the Puma Racing, currently in P21 at the moment. I didn't see how he did during the week, but at the moment he's very, very close on Ilham Karim. Then he goes off just to prove why our timing is absolutely perfect. We didn't do anything, I promise you, Brad. Wasn't us, it was you.
It's like that famous adage of, it wasn't me, it was you. And luckily, he got away with that. He got away from that scuffle with relatively small damage, while you can see that the rear wing slightly bent, and I think the suspension's a bit, we can use a bit of a slang here, borked, because it really is bent sideways. But luckily, it wasn't terminal. As a battle for the lead, Dillan around the outside and Iman on the inside.
Indeed, battle for the lead, well spotted. Dillan Tan just able to hold off the challenge from Troy Iman. There is Troy, and he's looking very, very focused. It's the first time we've had a camera on him, and it's very good to see him, but the focus is very there. He's got the slipstream. This is an opportunity, Ammo.
Yes, he has the opportunity here. Can he come through the carousel? Because we've seen a few drivers already trying a death-defying maneuver, we can safely say. Not this time. Troy Aikman has to settle back for a second for now. Dillan just with a good amount of distance between himself and Ayman to prevent an overtaking maneuver happening there.
So in that little spat that they just had there, who will have taken the moral victory? Dillan, because he was able to hold it off, or will Troy think, hey, I know where to take you on this lap now?
I think the more psychological victory has to go to Ayman, because he knows that because of the defending, he knows that he's there. So he could easily just put a few more distractions on the mind of Dillan, and he could get a maneuver done when a mistake is done by Dillan.
So while we're looking at that battle for P2, let's just see how Jin Masvilton is going on. He's pretty cool, calm and collected, the overall championship leader. He won the race, the 40-minute race last week, and he looks so composed there. Nothing seems to rattle him.
Other than the first lap, of course, where he ran a bit wide on cold tires and cold brakes. But yeah, so far so good. He's still not that far away from the top two. He is still within a shout this race. But will he try to pull off the same strategy that he did last week at Road America? Which I highly doubt it, because due to how the tires are wearing so much here, he might just have to do 2 stop pretty much as everybody. Or even 3 if he wants to go absolutely aggressive.
But you think, because it looks like he's riding beautifully just on tracks there, there's not too much going off the circuit. He doesn't look like the tyre wear is going to be too bad on Jin, or is it disguised, the damage that you get on this circuit?
I think it's the former, because he is trying to just go around gingerly, because he's not putting it too much input. In fact, we saw just now a bit of his onboard. He just feeds the car in, doesn't turn too much. He doesn't want to scrub so much speed and in turn wearing out the tires. So right now he's just easing up to the back of these guys, because they're battling as Troy Iman's taking the lead.
Troy Iman has indeed taken the lead, Duke. You got there just ahead of me, and it was, I think, on the previous corner. Troy Iman, now he's got in the lead. He's been knocking on that door for a while, but there's still 3/4 of this race to go. Can't get too excited yet, but he's raced really very well, and he was good in qualification as well. So this is looking good for Troy. It's the best we've seen him in eRacing GP.
The best ever so far. And the fact that he's been pacey so far in the first 12 minutes of the race, looks like he actually wants to take the opportunity and make a beeline for it. Or maybe with that advantage that he has currently right now, it's only a second, but he's going to try to build that up. He might want to do a 3-stopper if he was feeling aggressive. Or if he just takes the lead, he just holds back the pace, he'll go for a 2-stopper either way. So right now this is crucial moments. He has to be on it.
I'm not sure he's holding back the pace though, because he's immediately taken a 1.5 seconds off Dillan Tan. There he's on board with Dillan. Doesn't look very neat and tidy, Dillan, to be fair, and he's losing more and more time. 1.2, 1.5 seconds now as we look on him. He looks up. How composed do you think he is looking, Amo Hazik?
Looking a bit more shell-shocked if anything, because I think Ayman just got him by surprise. But right now he has to put that at the back of his mind. He just has to actually keep on pressuring Ayman and keep his tires in check. Otherwise, the lead will be as good as Ayman's.
As we say, though, there is still a long way to go. A little bit further down, Oli Aquino had a good week, number 1, and the Filipino not having such a good time of it here. He's in P12 at the moment. The Team Marelli car, the beautifully covered orange, blue and white. He's trying to chase Nofal, Paul Faustino and Daniel Miranda ahead of him. He needs to be wary of Amitesh behind him, though, so he's in the meat in that yellow sandwich, Aquino.
Yeah, the clone cars some more, so it's basically bread with a bit of blue cheese in between. But yeah, right now the midfield is pretty much the most compact of the entire field. The front guys have broken away. They've actually got their own battle group, while these guys, they're battling here for scraps, just a few points. But mind you, we had last week some dramatic moments that happened at the front in the closing stages, so they just had to keep their noses clean and not be involved in too many rash battles to actually scupper some points that they might get by the end of the season.
No foul is under pressure though from Oli Aquino, the Filipino. He's got Daniel Miranda and Paul Faustino for company, for Nations company. Jin Masvilton, a drive-through penalty as he drops down to P4. He's obviously, has he taken his...
Yes, he did.
He has. He's taken an early pit stop, Jim, and made a big mistake, a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that's a big oopsie there. That will actually throw the race wide open in terms of the guys that were behind him. And he's tagged! He's tagged at the wall! Oh, it's a big accident. That's definitely going to put pain to any good points he's going to score in this race.
Wow, Jin Masvilton. A minute ago, he was looking serene and composed. Now he's got a drive-through penalty and he's been tagged into the wall. And having made a pit stop, is down in P12. Ammo, how things can go wrong so quickly.
Well, we were waxing lyrical about him being smooth, and, well, that was commentator's blight right there. And look at that. He's just trying to swerve it to find if there's any damage on the car. I think the damage may be too much. He's going to have to pit again. And although he has to go to the pits twice, 1 to serve the penalty, 2 to fix the damage. So he's well and truly out of the running for any good points in this race.
My word, what a problem for Jim Masvilton. In the meantime, Troy Iman is there because we've also seen a pit for Dillan Tan. Dillan Tan has gone in and out of the pits, dropped down to P7, so maybe a 2-pit strategy for Dillan, or maybe it's a very early pit and hopes he can see out the rest. But it means Iman has a lead in this race and he hasn't pitted yet, Ammo.
Yep, it does. And the fact that he has seen some of his rivals behind him already pit, so he can actually judge this race's pace. He might just want to extend this stint on these tires from the start, and he will go to the middle of the race, then pit, and he will go all the way to the end. So a 1 pit stop strategy might do real wonders for him. He might be in the shot for actually having a big win here today.
Jose Youssef has given a uh-oh comment, and I quite agree with him because there's a lot of contact going on out there. But Haris Zefi, who Usair follows, has got himself up into P2. Again, obviously the pit stop strategy has got to sort things out. Mohammed Khalif in P3. Malaysia, 1, 2, 3. They'd be quite happy with that.
Yep. We're all the Malaysians here watching, but we're not going to show national bias. Yes, he's looking good right now, but mind you, the pit stops still haven't shuffled themselves through yet. So this order might still change. As looking at the stream, we got Wei Xiong now watching, so he's out of race too. That is disaster for him.
Now, Jin Masvilton, I'm just going in. Is this his drive-through? This is his drive-through penalty?
No, it's his pit stop.
Oh, it's his pit stop.
Yeah. So he managed to actually get to pit first. Then he's gonna go around one more lap to go through, do a drive-through penalty. So not an ideal race for him. It has gone completely pear-shaped.
Oh dear. Yeah, that was not on the agenda, was it?
Oops. Yeah, that was definitely. As we got word from messages here by Alex. He's saying that, yeah, I think it looks like Zefi is going for a one-stopper. So he's preserved his tires very well. We're looking into this. We're looking at one of our screens here right now. We got a few screens we set up at our own houses. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna go for a one-stop. So he has assumed the lead of the race. Now is the time for him to just preserve it all the way in. And knowing him personally, he apparently has really good tire management. So this is looking good for him.
Well, he's looking very sedate. He just goes off the racing line there. But his lead over Hamid Khalif is a good 12-13 seconds, unless Khalif has decided that he's going into the pits. There's Mohammed Khalif in P2, Daniel Miranda and Dillan Tan, who is surely on a two-stop strategy. Dillan's got himself up into P3 because Daniel Miranda suddenly disappeared off our screen.
Actually, because I think he just spun right there, because we were watching Dillan's on board. He was just right there. He just spun. There he is. No front wing, and he's going to come into the pits immediately. There's activity in the pits already. A lot of drivers coming in.
Now, let's just stay on board with Daniel, but just see all of the activity ongoing. Luckily, this isn't real life. Otherwise, we've had a casualty or two there. So there is Amitesh. Amitesh is in the pits as well. Let's see, it's almost always an eternity in there. Justin Hung, I think, is in the pits. Joy Iman has decided to go into the pits as well. So the one-time race leader, so far so good for Troy. And Troy will come out here looking composed, looking at this stage as we approach the halfway. Amo Hazik in control of his emotions and of this race, dare I say.
I think Des, he actually made a second pit stop because that's very far for him to drop back right now. He's well behind the next guy, which is Faustino, who has not pitted yet, I think. So yeah, he might have just been an unprecedented second stop. Yeah, we don't see the look on his face right now, but I think he might have done a second stop.
Well, at the moment he is officially in P10. Obviously the different strategies, it'll only sort itself out once we hit the 5-minute mark to go. Then we'll know. At the moment, Haris Zeffy, well, he looks like he's going into the pits now as well. The former race leader drops down. One-stop strategy? If so, right on halfway.
Yep, now he's gonna have to wait for the car to come out, levitating wise, but that is a pit stop going on right now. So far, it's looking good for him because he's got the advantage of having a longer stint. As who's that spinning? That looks like Troy Aikman's car. No, that isn't. That's not Troy Aikman. That's one of the many Stratos cars that's here right now. But yeah, going back to Zeffy, he's got a pit stop done now, and he's halfway through the race. He's gonna have fresher tires towards the end, but will he cycle behind? He's gonna have to deal with a lot of drivers. Oh, Aikman spins in the background. That's a massive accident into the first corner barriers. That is Troy Aikman. And I made a mistake earlier. That was his first and only mandatory stop right now. He's out of the race.
Troy Aikman, having looked so composed, has a nightmare with half of the race gone. He is out and in the pits, and he had looked so composed. He was in the lead, but now he's out, and it means Dillan Tan is the new race leader. Haris Zeffy currently in P9. I love the uncertainty that the different pit strategies give us, because Aikman looked composed and then suddenly it all went pear-shaped.
Oh, completely. Yeah, the fact that he would have been the de facto race leader, well, actually he was right behind Zeffy, so don't know how he lost that much time. But yeah, he could have easily been with a chance of still challenging for the win. Now it's falling into the hands of Dillan Tan, who is well ahead of Zeffy, who made the later stop. So it's 30 seconds between them. Let's see if whether or not Dillan will try to conserve his tyres all the way to the end, or will he make a second stop. It's interesting to see.
We're riding on board here with Jin Masvilton. He had a bit of a nightmare situation as well. He looked composed and then it all went wrong, but it seems to be going wrong for just about everybody at the moment, apart from Haris Zeffy, who is normally the guy causing all the chaos.
Well, that's now the shoes on the other foot for some of the drivers. But right now we can't even say for sure yet whether this will be the final order. This is still going to change because some drivers might have to consider doing a second stop, including the race leader, Dillan Tan. We might see him come into pits again because he did pit quite early along with Jin Masvilton.
Fires Ryan's asking, is the stream a little bit laggy? It is just a little bit. We're working through it now. Uzair Yusuf is saying, come on, Haris, don't give up. Continue with your pace. Haris Zeffy currently is in P9 as we speak. Dillan Tan, though, is the man who's got a 7-second lead. And we've gotten on board with Dillan. I do like to see the emotions as somebody spins off.
That looks like one of the new Indonesian drivers, Ridorilo Adisasmito. So I think that was him that just went off. But luckily, it gave the way for Dillan to go through, almost like Moses splitting the oceans apart.
So Dillan Tan has the lead. Mark Voltaire Elman is the next to be in P2. And Triple L, Leon Leo Young and Justin Hung. The Hong Kong battle has been resumed. They were early on 3 and 4. They're back to being 3 and 4. We're on board with Triple L here. Now, Triple L, he won a category last season. And this season, how did he do? He didn't have the best of weeks last week, did he? He got himself 10 points.
Another stopping car penalty. Sorry for that.
Jin Masvilton.
Oh, my word.
Oh, my word.
Can it go any worse for him? There's no front wing on Leon as well. So this race has gone a little bit pear-shaped as well. Look at that, no front wing. He's gonna have to do another pit stop.
As Justin Hung goes on inside, Paul Faustino will get close. So Triple L has triple problems and will need to go in for a triple pit stop. Jin Masvilton has had double problems, a double exposure to a penalty. How can you make the same mistake twice, Ammo? That's surely careless.
Yep, that is very careless, Des. And speaking of careless, there's Johnny Popular getting his name on the screen now. But yeah, Masvilton, he had a mistake of actually running through the speed limit, and now the second one for actually overtaking under yellow flags. So rookie mistakes from a guy who actually looks good to actually set the championship alight. This is not the weekend that he would have wanted, that's for sure.
16 and a half minutes to go. Let's just go on board. Oh, Johnny Popular has dropped out of the race. There is Johnny.
Oh, he's back.
No, that was a pit stop as well. He's on his debut for us. It's great to get the Aussie on board. We're also very, very happy to get an American on board, Brad McCombs. We were with him earlier on, and he had a bit of a moment. Let's hope for his sake he's a little bit smoother here. He's not going to be anywhere near the front. He's 19th at the moment. How we'd love to have a chance to get into the top 15.
Oh yeah, to score first points on his debut. That's one car going off. That was a big off. I think that was Eddie Mito as well. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
They're the guys who have been lapped, so they're just fighting for the. Shall we say they want to salvage any pride here to at least finish higher than the other.
Okay, let's focus on those who are a little bit further up. And Haris Zeffi has got himself now up into P7. Seb Tagulo not too far away. We've got an onboard camera with the master Haris Zeffi. He's had a haircut again. He has about 50 a year, I should imagine. And here he's coming through in P7. He's a long way. He's probably 30 seconds behind the race leader, Dillan Tan. But is Dillan got another pit stop to do? And is Harris on a single stop strategy? That is the question that we don't know the answer to yet. We will do soon.
That's just, this is tense. Especially if you're the guy in front. You look like you had the advantage, but in actuality, you feel very tense knowing that the guy behind you is chasing fast. And your window of opportunity to make a pit stop is closing fast too. So right now, Dillan has to make do with these tires for the rest of the race. Otherwise, that's game over for him once he does a pit stop. He's going to drop well below the best scoring positions.
Welcome to Gav Quintos, having just won a race in the previous category. He's on Facebook offering his support to Oliver Aquino. We're still on board though with Harris. It's a fascinating battle here. If it's a single stop strategy, how successful will it be? Dillan Tan is still leading, but we suspect Dillan is on a two-stop strategy, and that will make it very, very tight. If Dillan is on a two-stop strategy, and we'll go on to Dillan in just a second, then when will he make that move, Amo Hazik?
Ooh, that's got to be quite tight, because right now, if I were driving in this position, I would not go for the second stop, because right now the guys behind might just be overtaking me. So if I were Dillan, I would just drive conservatively, not slide the car too much like what he was doing there, and try to actually keep the tires alive towards the end, because a pit stop now will be detrimental to a good finishing position.
Mark Voltaire Elman is the man in second place. At the moment, Mark Voltaire Elman is 21 seconds adrift. Justin Hung, Paul Faustino, Oli Aquino make it 3 Filipinos in the top 5, and Seb Tagulo is in there as well. He's in P7. Haris Zeffi is the meat in that Filipino sandwich, but Dillan Tan is the race leader. He's going to come on to lap 21. 13 and a half minutes to race. Whoa, yep. Dillan.
Yeah, got word here from the chat about Tazbe. He said that it's weird. Somebody cut the first corner. Mesvilton took him, and the game gave him a penalty. So I think this might have been a bit of an error on the game's part. So Mesvilton becoming a bit of a collateral damage to that regard.
Well, Jin Mesvilton, you are allowed to lose one round of scores. Obviously, you don't want to throw scores away early on in the season, because it means you've got very, very few opportunities to make mistakes later on. But Jin may well have to decide that that's the way. Philippines, Oliver Aquino up into P2.
And wow, look at who's in third. Zeffi actually made his way because the other driver is making a second pit stop. But wow, look at that. This is going to be a very, very close finish towards the end if Dillan Tan were to hold on with these tires as Noizo gets a drive-through penalty.
Mark Voltaire Elman is in our screen. P7 for Mark Voltaire. He's looking very, very focused. He's trying to close in on Amitesh Nyogi, who currently is in P6. Great debut from the Indian debutant. Mohammed Khalif in 5, Tagulo in 4. Mark Voltaire Elman, who was running in P2 for quite a while, but happily in 7th. Now then, Dillan Tan is still leading. If he's going to make a second, it needs to be soon. He's got a 30-second advantage over Oliver Aquino. Is that enough?
You know what? I think it might be enough for him to actually do this one stop, but that weaving there is a little bit concerning. He might actually just have a slow puncture coming on, but look at his lap times. He was only 2/10 slower than Zeffy, who was in third. So he could actually still keep these tires up for the rest of the race if he wanted to. He's only got about 11.5 minutes left to go. It's amazing that he could keep these tires alive, even though he's passed well by the sell-by date.
Aquino is being closed in by Haris Zeffy. Aquino is the upside down man to the right of your screen, and his whole world could be about to be turned upside down because Haris Zeffy is closing. Aquino, the best of the Filipinos. It's Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, India for the top 6. Haris Zeffy, I tell you what, Aquino has put in a real spurt there and has actually taken a re-lead over Harris, who got within 1.3 seconds, but now it's a 2.4 second lead. So either Aquino's doing well or Harris has dropped off the pace.
I think he might have dropped off the pace because right now his tires are well and truly within the cycle where he's going to fall off the cliff, per se.
But he was on the one-stop strategy, wasn't he, Harris?
Yeah, he was. So right now he should, by right, have the fresher tires, but he may have been pushing them way too hard initially.
Dillan Tan just out of the pits.
And that is a very good move there in the end, because look at that, he's still in the lead. He's well ahead of Aquino and Zeffy. So that is a good pit stop, despite the fact that I think it wouldn't have been a mistake to do it anyway.
So Dillan Tan, 2-stop strategy. The second one very, very quick. That'll just be a quick tire change. Get back out. Hope you've got enough fuel on there. 10 minutes to hold on, young fella. 10 minutes to hold on.
Oh, this is a grandstand finish with different strategies now coming to the fore in the last few laps. This is now Dillan's race to lose. He's got the lead back. Well, actually, he's maintained the lead, and he's made a second pit stop against the run of play, and now he has the opportunity to stretch that lead with fresher tires.
The man in second place is the upside down man, Oliver Aquino. Let's see if we can get on board with Ollie. He's the man who's chasing Dillan Tan. It's about 8 seconds, the differential just at the moment. Haris Zeffy is still 2.5 seconds behind, so Haris had been closing on Aquino. Aquino has been able to hold on. This is fascinating. Mohammed Khalif currently in P5, Mark Walter Elman in P6, and Amitesh Nyogi on debut is holding on to P6 at the moment, Amo Hazik. Amitesh, and he's got Mark Walter Elman in his sights.
What a great debut for the Indian driver. We haven't had that many good Indian drivers yet in this series. We're gonna have one now. If he keeps this up, he'll probably be the one to watch for the next few rounds.
As they come through onto lap number 24. Dillan, would you believe, is this Paul Faustino we're on board with now? Faustino currently in P7. We don't really give Paul much attention. It's a lovely backdrop he's got there. Lovely mirrors, lovely screen, lovely pictures. But his focus is very much on the road in front.
I think those are Hot Wheels cars that he just planted on his wall. He was like, yeah, there we go. It is Hot Wheels cars. So, you can tell he's a bona fide petrol head. But 7th place would definitely be a good return for him. In this championship, he's continuing to get the points.
Right, let's move back up to the front area. This is 3rd place. Haris Zeffy is closing in on Ollie Aquino, but Dillan Tan is moving away from Ollie Aquino. There is P2 ahead of Haris Zeffy. 7-8 minutes still remaining. Facebook support from Uzair. Look after yourself. Gav Quinto says, hello, Loverboy Faustino. Focus, Gav. Focus, fella. This is Haris Zeffy. He's definitely focused, Amo.
Oh, yeah. You can see that. Again, keep pointing out that these guys don't blink. And it's a similar case here because you're so concentrated, you just don't want to take your eyes off for a second. When you blink, you might easily make a mistake. And that's when your body just shuts off for a momentary second. You'll live to regret it afterwards. So right now, he's well and truly having Aquino in his sights. But also he has to watch out for the fact that Khalif, who's on fresher tires because he also made a second pit stop, he's right behind him too. This could be a close battle for second coming towards the end of the race.
Yeah, there is Khalif. He's got Haris Zeffy in front of him. Bit of bad news for Amitesh Niogi. I think he just made a pit stop and he's come out of the pit. So he was on a 2-stop strategy. 6th becomes 9th for Amitesh. Dillan Tan up at the front. The lead is increasing over Ollie Aquino. So that 2nd pit stop has been absolutely perfect for young Dillan because the fresh tyres are helping him, Amozik.
Wow, I really thought that would have been a mistake for him to come in because you lose on average at least 40 seconds due to the fact that you need to refuel as well. I think he just had enough fuel and then he just bolt on some new sets of tires because he only takes 6 seconds to bolt them on and that's it. He's already off. So he made that work and now the race is all on him. This is in his hands and I think he's laughing. Would you believe this might be actually Jin Mesvilton?
I think it is, you know. Poor old Jin. Oh no, it's not Jim Mesvilton. Jin's on his own there.
Okay.
Jin's out in P14. He'll look a little bit serene when we go to him, but I'm sure Jin is feeling the pressure here too. He's feeling life's a little bit unfair at the moment on him, Jin. He won last week. He's not going to win this week.
Yeah, and the fact that penalty was very harsh, if you honestly. If you're given a penalty by the system when it clearly is not your fault, then that's just hard done on him. There's no way to to fix that. He just has to live with it. But the first one, that was definitely on him. He could have actually slowed the car earlier to prevent that drive-through penalty from being dished out to him.
The beautiful race room car of Mohammed Khalif. We don't often focus on Khalif. He's very often mid-table in the racing, but here he's timed this one pretty nicely. He's another who had 2 pit stops, we believe, but he's currently in 4th place, well clear of Mark Walter Elman in 5th, but a long way behind Haris Zephi in P3. But good performance from Khalif. It's good to give him just a little bit of attention. He just needs to be clean for these last 5 minutes and he'll pick up a good 13 points.
Very discreet, and that's the kind of performance that between bosses would love to see, because you don't create too much histrionics, you don't create the crashes. So what Khalif's doing is pretty much the type of driver that gains the points for the team, and he's doing a very good job at it.
Okay, just while we've got a few minutes just before it gets really, really tasty, I'm just going to go down and give a couple of name checks. Sev Tagulo is currently in P7 for the Philippines. Justin Hung is the best of the Hong Kong racers. He's in P8. Amitesh Niogi has got himself, after that pit stop, into P9. And Triple L Leon Leo Young is in the top 10. Further down, Joaquim Garrido is a disappointing 12th for him. Maz Vilton, enough said about him. Brad McCoon's on debut in P16. Tony Fock, a frustrating 17. He's got Wei Xiong for company, but he's a lap ahead of Wei Xiong. And Johnny Popular, the greatest name in eRacing GP, is down in 21. Let's go up to the front though. Dillan Tan is extending his lead, Ammo. Wow. The kid is showing the rest a clean pair of heels.
Well, you can say that this boy's a star because he made what could be said was a risky strategy to go aggressive and pit a second time work, and he's now just increasing the gap to the guy in second. And this is like one of the best drives you could ever wish for if you're at his age. This will boost his confidence to sky-high levels.
Yeah, a little wipe of the brow. It can get a little bit nerve-wracking there. You've done such a good job for so long. Ollie Aquino, though, is now 12 seconds adrift. But Aquino, I think, isn't looking forward. I think Aquino is looking backwards. And he'll be delighted to see nobody on the horizon there. Oh, yes. Oh, and coming very quickly is Haris Zephi. But it's a 2.5 second lead that he's got to hold on for the next 3 minutes.
Well, the bogey looks clear for him. He has no missiles coming at him from this guy, who's normally a bit aggressive when it comes to his overtaking. Right now, he just has to be conservative and try to save his tires, because right now this one-stop strategy will probably come to a cliff towards the end of the race. He's got to keep these tires alive and not do any more challenges. This is probably the best he could finish right now, unless Khalif mounts an absolutely spectacular last couple of laps.
Haris Zephi and conservative in the same sentence is not something I expected to hear, but that's exactly what he has been. And it's a new Haris. It's like he's had a haircut.
Haircut completely.
Oh, he spins. It's a lag. It's a lag.
Yeah, you can see the smoke there. Really thought that he actually lost it. Well, because the lag just made us jump the gun. Sorry to
Is that tyre wear? Is that tyre wear beginning to kick in?
No, it's just probably the lag making it look like complete spin. But yeah, it might have been an overcorrection earlier that he saved. But the tire wear, yes, it is a given. The tires are now at the end of its life. He just needs to keep them alive somehow by not overdriving it like how the lag just showed us.
Dillan Tan, would you believe, is increased that lead to 16 seconds. 16 seconds over Ollie Aquino. What a strategy. A little bit sideways there. Hold on, kiddo. Hold on. Hold on. And this will be a fabulous race for you. He did well. He was 5th overall. He picked up 4th place in round 1 here at the very difficult Ohio circuit. It looks like he's going to pick up maximum points, Amo Hazik.
Wow. Yeah, indeed. In
Last
fact,
lap.
Yep. And he also has the fastest lap of the race. So it's a perfect weekend for him if he were to actually keep it together here. And the fact that if you look closely at his picture just now in the video, you can see a hand coming. I think that's his dad or indeed maybe an elder brother asking him to just hold on to the pace. You got this win in the bag. You just don't need to stuff it in the barriers on the last lap.
17 seconds the lead. P2 is Ollie Aquino. The orange and blue is looking very good. Haris Zephi just came into shot in P3. Mohammed Khalif is behind them and Paul Faustino in P5. Mark Voltaire Elman. It's been a great day for Philippines on eRacing GP. They've got 4 in the top 7 here. But at the moment, it's Dillan Tan who is leading the way still. And that lead is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This has been an education by the young fella.
Definitely. He has shown the drivers of the field of how to keep it all clean at the front. Take the early advantage. Yes, you might lose it in a while because of a battle. But you hang back and not, do anything stupid. And he's done absolutely a brilliant job here today. Slides into the final corner. What the heck not? Because it is the final lap. He just needs to let his foot off the gas before he comes to the line. And that's
Has he won it? Has he got one more race to go?
He didn't time it. He has to
didn't
actually
time
do
it.
one more.
He's got one more lap to go.
Oh, he just missed out by 1 second. Now he has to actually. That was
Great reaction.
That was a bit premature there.
I'd put the helmet back on, young fella. But now then, refocus. Now surely, he's got a 17-second lead. Yeah, a little smile there. He knows he's safe. Just make sure you don't make a catastrophic error. Behind them, Ollie Aquino has done well to hold off Haris Zephi. Ollie will pick up P2. Haris Zephi in 3. Mohammed Khalif, I think we can go on board with Mohammed Khalif. He is currently holding on to P4. He's held off Paul Faustino and Sev Tagulo.
And a bit of you might say it's smart, but I think it's a bit of a wry smart because he knew that he actually just did a bit of a cock up there. He wanted to just time it, but unfortunately he missed it. But yeah, he'll live and learn, but he actually will walk away here victorious.
Let's give him a lap of honour. Talk him home, please, Amo Hazik. It has been a fabulous, mature drive from Dillan Tan.
Through the carousel for the last time, and there it is, for real this time. This is not a drill, it's a win. He weaves across the line to take his first win of the Silver Class season in the Global Edition Americas Championship. What a win. He made a risky strategy to go in for a second time work, and boy did he make it work big time.
Second place goes to Philippines, Ollie Aquino ahead of Haris Zephi Shami. Haris will come through in P3. Mohammed Khalif gets a good 13 points for P4 ahead of Paul Faustino and Sev Tagulo. Mark Volta Elman will come through in 7th place ahead of Justin Hung. Amitesh on debut gets a very, very healthy 9th. Leon Triple L finishes in P10. But this story, Amo Hazik, is all about this young man, Dillan Tan. Last season, he was reckless. This season, terrific.
Yeah, you said that right, Des. And we could get in on board view of him right now, how he's feeling so relieved. He will definitely be thinking like, I got this one in the bag with this kind of strategy. I might actually mount a championship right now. This, with a drive like this, it's so mature for a kid his age. He could actually open up a world potential here for the rest of the season.
Uzair Yusuf offers his congratulations to Dillan Tan and also says, nice job to Haris Zephi. So there is the result. Dillan Tan gets the 25 points. Troy Iman gets the fastest lap, and for a long time Troy looked as though he was going to get a good result, and then it just went all pear-shaped. Bad day at the office for Troy. Don't know what happened to Jim Masvilt, and I'm sure the race control will get some complaints from Jin. He's feeling a little bit hard done by, but the championship leader will not be the championship leader at the end of round 2, because that championship leader will be Dillan Tan.